Hi, Susie Kerr-Wright here, intuitive consultant and astrologer. I wanted to do a little video here just to give you guys an idea of what all of this energy is that's happening. Everybody's been, we've been focusing a lot on this week, the 16th through the 20th of March, and things that are happening. And so I can't tell you, it is intense, but I'm going to use an old analogy here it's been done before, but hopefully this will explain how this process has been going on in our lives, okay? So for the last 3 years, we've had Uranus and Pluto in what's called a square to each other. Now, a square in astrology requires action. Something's going to break. Things can't just stay the same way. Things, they'll build and build and build until something has to change. As opposed to just, for example, an opposition in astrology. One planet on this side, one planet on this side. You can go back and forth and deal with, be in this energy or this energy, and then never find the balance. You don't always have to. Ideally, that's what you want. But with a square, you don't have that option of just bouncing back and forth. Something's going to happen, okay? And so having Uranus and Pluto being the planet of deep soul level transformation and regeneration, and Uranus the planet of sudden change and unexpected events and our rebellious side and our need for independence and freedom. Those two planets, not getting along in the sky has caused what I've been calling our own personal revolutions in our chart. Wherever each of these planets is sitting in your chart, this is where you're undergoing huge transformation, but rebelling and trying to get out and define yourself as an individual. So it's very, very, very powerful. These are very slow-moving planets with very heavy energy, as we all know. So what happened was, about 3 years ago, these planets started on a journey together. For 7 times they were going to be in an exact square to each other, okay? And it started back, as I said, about 3 years ago, but I was feeling it about 4 years ago, just a little less than 4 years ago. So, and I know some of you have too. And what happened was, at the time, we were like a little seedling, okay? And someone planted us really, really, really deep in the nice, quiet, soft earth, and we were all protected in our little hard shell, and we knew inside that we had a higher purpose, that something was going to happen in our lives, but we were comfortable, right where we were. And so as time went on, as these planets squared off and other planets came into play, I mean, we had, obviously the Saturn and Scorpio thing, which everybody, I don't know if any of us are really over that one yet. All these things started coming into play, and what happened was, we started realizing that there was stuff going on outside, and that the things that we would, that we couldn't just stay in that comfortable little shell anymore. Something was going to start happening to us, and we just felt like we couldn't, we wanted to stay where we were, but we knew that we had to start working towards whatever it is that we had to work towards. And so it was a constant back and forth, it's just kind of like, we could live in denial for a little while. Okay, I just really like it here, I'm going to stay here, and everything will be just fine. But then something would tap on that seed, and we'd be like, oh, okay, I'm not ready yet, but I know, okay, I'll be out in a little bit, And so as time went on and these planets kept squaring off and squaring off and squaring off, the seedlings started cracking open. And the first thing that happened is we get out and we think, oh, something's happened. Okay, here, ooh, wow, we'll see, now we can see nothing. We couldn't see anything. It was hard. We're in dirt, okay? And it's very dark in there. And so we would find this level of comfort in there, in that little dirt spot that we were in. But then, as time went on, we had to keep growing and keep growing and keep growing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And now we're at the point where, after 6 other times, we're at the 7th point in time where these two planets have squared off. And this is where we have popped our little heads out from the dirt, and we can see that there's a whole world out there. Now, that's scary in itself to some people, yes it is. But we also need to keep in mind that 7s are it's a very spiritual number, and it's a number that has to do with seeking the truth, finding the truth, okay? And so now, as we've come to this point where our little heads are poked above the ground, and what has been seen can't be unseen. I don't know any seeds that crawl back in, any little sprouts that crawl back in under the ground. I don't think we can do that anymore. We need to continue to go forward with the information that we have, knowing this whole time we do have a higher purpose, but we can't always see what that's going to be. And so now that we're above ground with this seventh square, we can see the truth, we can see the light, we can see things come on in our lives, and it makes it much clearer for us to understand what we have to do. Now, is everybody going to find their purpose this weekend? Probably not, okay? But we are getting so much closer, and that's all this universe asks of us. Just be who we're supposed to be. That's it. And so there's a lot of things that can happen now too. Now some little animal could come along and eat us, you know, and I think some plants actually have things that keep animals and bugs from eating them. I don't know, I would assume so. So, you know, whatever that little armor is that you have to put up to protect yourself, that's great. And the other thing that this has to do with is asking for help. When little seedlings start to look brown or start to wilt over, okay, we know we have to go and water them. Someone else has to come in and nurture us. Somebody else, you know, so at this point in time, it's okay to call in people to help you to do things that you want to do. Because probably if it's something that you've been struggling with and you haven't been able to make it happen for the last 4 years, chances are you're not going to be able to do it on your own. Call in someone to water you, nurture you, help you through the process, okay? Nothing wrong with that. This is big stuff that we're going through, and we all are, you know, being invited and encouraged to grow into something that we've never been before. And that is so wonderful. But again, it can be very scary for a lot of people. And scary, good, you know, bad, whatever you want to call it, that's up to you. Because that's, you make your life. You create your life however you want. So whatever you're looking for, that's what you're going to find. So, you know, putting negative connotations into it is only your choice. It doesn't have to be that way. So now that we've gotten here, our little heads are poked above the ground, we've called in some people to help water us, now we get to go on the journey to come into what we're supposed to be. And, you know, I'm envisioning a sunflower, you know, poking up through the ground and just on its way to becoming this amazing, beautiful, beautiful flower that just looks up to the sun constantly, looks up for spiritual direction, spiritual guidance, right? All kinds of metaphors in this. So whatever you do, it's up to you. So the other piece of this energetic push that we have right now is the spring equinox, okay? Beautiful. We have one every year. Not that big a deal, all right? But this year we do have a little bit of different energy that's going to be added to it, and that is a solar eclipse. Now, I love solar eclipses. When they are used properly, they are fantastic. Solar eclipses have far-reaching effects when you set your intentions, when you set your goals and do that sort of thing on solar eclipses. New moons are always great for setting intentions. That's when you write it on paper, you put some energy behind it, you do that vision board, you do whatever it is that you need to do to make that start to have some reality to it instead of just being in your head. We can do this every month. And but with a solar eclipse, what we get is a little bit extra oomph. You know, it's like an exclamation point on that part of, on that particular new moon. And that's what we have all on the day of the eclipse. And that is a rare occasion. My opinion, I don't know that it really has any extra superpowers, you know, beyond that. But the whole concept of having that new energy of the spring and the year, you know, the new year starting at that point, and having that new moon where we can create what we want for our future and create our lives with deliberate intention. I mean, it is kind of cool. So use it, you know, for what you really want. And here's the thing though, Pluto and Uranus have been trying to get you to pay attention to whether what you want is really what you should be having, what is right for you. So that's the other piece of the puzzle, is look back and see if you've been struggling with something for so long, maybe it's not yours to do or have or be. And so really get in alignment with that and set your intentions based on what is truly yours. And there's plenty of ways to find that out. If you need help with any of that, I'm here to help. I'd love to. And don't spend a whole lot of time panicking about things falling out of the sky. It's just another day. But I will tell you that this day is going to have far-reaching impact, okay? Like pretty much any day we do, but it, you know, with the solar eclipse, again, it's extra added energy. So what's being created now in the world and in your life is going to play out for many years to come. So keep that in mind, you know. As far as global events, I don't do much mundane astrology, but I will tell you this applies to everybody. So, and our leaders really need to get their acts together and try and work out new solutions. We're not getting to good solutions from being in the problem. And we're holding on to all of these dogmatic beliefs and these things, and everybody wants to be right. You know, that is the Uranian independence, of course. You know, we want to be right, I'm right, you know, but at the same time, it's, you know, we've got to all work together with this stuff, guys. It's just out of control. But what can we do as individuals? We can live in our highest purpose. We can live in our truth. And that's probably the best way to change whatever is going on out there that is not in our highest and best interest. So go forth and manifest, people. Do a great job. Be nice to yourself. Be kind to yourself and others. This may be, again, very intense with those who are not willing to see what they need to do or not willing to take those steps yet. They may be struggling really hard. So, so you guys just take care of each other. Live long and prosper. Bye.